Good evening from InvestSharp.com. This is Randy Smotone with your Tuesday, December the 28th market update. So another kind of little slow grind higher today, kind of same as we've been having on really light volume. So the dollar was flat. Gold, silver, copper, and oil were all up today. Light sweet crude futures were up 49 cents to settle at $91.49 a barrel. So today, going to look at the dollar ETF UUP. See, it's pretty much wound up, definitely came way off the lows here and pretty much closed where we did yesterday. Over to the West Texas Intermediate Point Figure chart. No changes here. We're definitely headed to this $105 barrel, it looks like. We're making our way there. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. We'll start out with that since it had the largest percent gain today. And of course, it did kind of pull back like a lot of the market, but it's hanging in there. Mostly kind of saying mostly grinding sideways. Not much to see. The Russell, you look at it next. It was the weakest, down 0.36%. Still having a, up around this trend line. Seems to be some resistance up here. The Dow closed up 20 points. Took out this little bit prior high. Still hanging tough. And then the S&P, just nice little almost equal buying and selling today. Just kind of still in this kind of a range, bouncing back and forth as we have been. Looking at GLD, big gap up on GLD, up higher. Nice move. Silver also big move higher. Copper going higher, looks good. And Euro is definitely, once it's dropped this trend line, it came up here and tested it, got rejected, got almost about equal up here, and here, and then of course we fell, come down here, and we're still hanging around down here. Not a whole lot of volume going on, but Euro remains weak. Look at the volatility index, the VIX. Down a little bit today after this big gap up from yesterday. Take a look at the McClellan oscillator. Even though I'm sure it hasn't moved since we didn't move much. Yep, still very neutral, not overbought, not oversold. Now I will note that if you actually look at the RSIs though, I think I've covered this before, right? So as far as the RSI's relative strength index goes, we're definitely, overbought, and they all are pretty similar, right? Russell, very overbought. So it just kind of depends on what you want to look at here. That as far as relative strength goes, and we stay this way for some time, quite some time, like we did through here and here. Eventually we usually get some kind of a little pullback. Take a look at the sectors. So 8 of the 16 sectors follow finish in the green. The gold index had the larger percent gain, up 2.09%, and the home construction index was the weakest, down 1.63%. So over to chart watch, or not. There we go. A couple of new ideas, some other ones that I'm still watching as well. MCHP, right around this uptrend line. Had a big bounce off of it. Kind of keep your eye on it here. It's where's the moving averages? There they are. So, it's back above the 10, 30, everything right here, and actually it does have the 20. So it does have the 20 above it. It looked like it hit the 20 here, and it's been having some problems getting over this green line, the 20-day moving average. So keep an eye on that. But kind of looks interesting here. Open table, still hanging out here, holding up really well. Just mostly been going sideways for the most part inside of this bearish candle, but pretty equal buying and selling today. But it is back above the moving averages, including this green line, which is the 20. CTXS, still watching this. It's just not moving a whole lot. It's got some uptrend line here, a little bit of support. this isn't looking too great yet. And it's holding the 30, but it's got the 20 over the top. It seems to be trapped right now in between the two, and of course not moving around a whole lot. CSTR, Coinstar, below the 50, but it looks like it's it's touched here before, made this low here, what, 57.45 or so. Still trying to hold this as some support. So until it can close over the, typically you can use the close over the high of the low day, which this was the low day for now at least. So if the high was 58.65, so it looks like it's going to close over 58.65, you could try to go long at that point. In MTD, Medtronics. So this has it's got the 200-day over it, but I like this nice ascending pattern, and I've got lines drawn all over here. But it had this nice ascending triangle breakout, lots of volumes, come back, still hanging out down here. But I do like it a little bit longer term here, but it's holding up all right. And there's really, other than here, there's not really any heavy selling, no volume there. Still kind of just stalking it here. Kohl's, another one, still watching, still stalking. It's got in a small little descending pattern here, but it is holding up pretty well, and it's still holding. And I think I talked about this the other day. It's still holding the 50. It just isn't quite ready to go anywhere yet, but it is holding the 50-day moving average. And of course, the stochastic momentum index actually just pointed back up, so it's starting to kind of look interesting here. Southwestern Energy. Of course, we have a position in here, and we've been in it since right down in here somewhere when it bounced off this prior, where it had breakout and new support. At least it's new support for now. But it looks fine here, and actually this momentum's actually turned back up. So you watch Nat Gas. It'll kind of move as Nat Gas goes up, should move up. But looks interesting. Needs to really take out this 37, which I believe is where the 200. Yeah, there's a 200-day moving average there, but I think it looks interesting for a little longer term. This is something you're probably gonna have to, depending on what type of return you're looking for, you're probably gonna have to hold it a little while. But it's starting to look interesting, especially once it takes out the 200 and downtrend line. It should get a nice, pretty quick pop up to the 38 and then possibly 39 area. So. And PCL, talked about this one. Yeah, still looks good. Still hanging, holding tough there above the downtrend line breakout. Cisco still looks fine here. This Federal Agricultural Mortgage Company had this big breakout yesterday, and it's holding about the midpoint of this large bullish candle, which is typically pretty bullish. So it still looks fine. These real estate investment trusts, Boston Properties, still holding up really well. Looks good here. Avalon Bay still holding out where it broken higher. This Washington Real Estate Investment Trust, now it's got resistance up here, so keep an eye. It had a lot of volume coming here, so if it can break above this resistance, could have a pretty decent move here back up to the this area up into here. So watch it, and it looks like it wants to break higher, and it did close. Actually, it did close over this prior high today, so it's kind of looking interesting here. And SPG, Simon Property Group. So this is in this kind of a falling wedge type thing. It looks like it's kind of trapped here for now, but it looks had a lot of volume coming back in, and so if it can actually take out today's high, probably jump on board that. It really needs. It's got some struggling here at the 100, so watch that 100 level there. Let's see here. What else? AER, talked about this one yesterday. Still looks interesting. Still looks pretty good. QLogic, still watching this one. It's had this outside bullish reversal candle yesterday, and it's holding up okay today. So we'll see if if it can hold this trend line and actually wind up getting at least back up into here. And Broadcom, still holding the 50. Still watching it. No position, but just watching it. Kohl's, still, I talked about this one yesterday, or earlier. Yeah, I talked about this one yesterday and earlier, so I've got it written down twice. Sorry about that. On to Netflix. Netflix, nice bounce today. I talked about it off the 50 yesterday. Nice bounce. Of course, it really needs to clear this downtrend line before it can have a continuation to the upside. But holding up pretty well. IPI, Intrepid Potash, so it's pulled back almost back to the 10-day moving average, so it's been really strong, had a nice move, holds up, looking all right here, so just we'll have to see where it goes from here. Be really nice if it could get it possibly to come back to this uptrend line and maybe buy it off of that. So no position, still watching it. AGU holding up, looks good. CF still holding fine, looks fine here. Mosaic, talked about all these yesterday, so it looks fine. BAC looks fine. JP Morgan, yeah, I mean, you know, it had this pullback, but I mean, it still looks fine here. It should have some support somewhere around this, you know, 41.50 or so area. If it does pull back to there, I don't know if it will, but it looks okay here. Morgan Stanley, this looked pretty good. Still holding above the where it broke out above this downtrend line. It's looking pretty good for some higher prices. Along with that, of course, Goldman Sachs, if it can take out today's high actually with some volume and break out higher, it has a nice, this nice little this triangle pattern here. Looking pretty good. And ACSG, talked about this one. Of course, we're waiting for it to break out over this prior high before we jump on that. 1667 or so, about 1670. TRV, still watching it. It's above the 50. It needs to take out this level here at about 56 or so with volume. See if we can get back up to here. And VMC, still stocking this one. This possible bull flag here. I mean, this has been kind of moving this way. Big move up, flags all the way down, then a consolidate, and then a huge move higher again, and then now it's, you know, possibly setting up to do that again. So could have a really nice move once it breaks out of this flag, and it might do this too. It may kind of break out of it and then go sideways for a while before it moves higher, but still watching this material stock. On deck for tomorrow, we'll get the weekly petroleum status report, and that's 10:30 Eastern time. And then current market signals, there's no change there. Same thing, all on buys. The market's not really going anywhere, still holding up, you know, fine. So no need to look at those. All right, that is it for today, and thanks for watching.